Okay, so we initially covered the business case of investing into a 5PL. Obviously, we would have to walk through the entire process on the particular numbers. So it's not going to be something you just basically toss it out here. We would be more than happy to present to whatever the parties of real interest into such 5PL investment. But now let's look at why do you think the 5PL actually make business sense in the term of problem solving? If we all already agreed that 2PL and 3PLs are not covering all the blanks and the 4PL is not quite here yet, so where and how 5PL would actually come in and do the jobs to actually deliver the result that's projected. First, let's just have a very hypothetical review on the 4PL things. Even though it's not quite here in the oil industry just yet, but it has been in existence in the other industries for quite a couple of decades already. And so we do know that 4PL actually covers a lot of things that left between 2PLs and 3PLs, and actually they pick up a very important function that is primarily otherwise to be done by 1PL, which is basically the logistic planning. And of course, they monitor the executions as well. Some of the better 4PLs actually would do the category management for logistic services to vet and screen to qualify them and to build the good portfolios, making sure that their performances are up to the expectations specified. So that is about 4PL. As good as they have been so far in the other industry other than oil, gas, and chemical industry, here's certain, I guess, shortcomings that limited their capacities, let's say. When you do planning, obviously you want to have as much scenarios, operational scenarios, worked out, modeled, so that you can identify the logistic operational and non-operational risks and to assess the financial impacts, whereas you also try to identify the resources available given the geological location and the geographic condition and all that. So basically, you want to make sure this plan is good in particular project, brown side, green side, whatever it is, and you want to make sure you build an actual scenario with the logistic risks identified and the countermeasures recommended. And to be able to execute all that, you gotta have the right party to do all that with the competence in terms of knowledge and operational capacity and capability, right? So where does 5PL differ from the 4PL? Well, when you do all this manually, we call by hand or whatever you call it, how many scenarios can you come up with humanly possible, right? So if you do the modeling, which I know at some of the owner operators, they actually establish the model analysis system for personnel logistics already. And that is typically to be done internally anywhere at the cost between $2 and $3 million. So was $5 million 5PL to bring in the systematic solutions as versus that little model for the personnel logistics. How does that pay off? Don't ask me, because personnel logistics is not really my forte. So anyway, back to the 5PL again. The big point, or at least the first one, the prime one, is if you have a system with the computation capacity that actually start to do the modeling analysis in real time, and then you can have at least, I'm not exaggerating, at least 100 or more scenarios per planning modeling series. And then with all that possibilities here and there, when you look at the whole process of the flows, every node here and there, starting from the fabricator's ERP and their ship dates constantly update. For whatever reason they have internally, they may or may not share with you. What they do tell you, hopefully, in good timing, which unfortunately, which is not the case, it would impact the ships that you booked. And with the delay or update, you will have to have the backup plan. Let alone we're looking at the dead freight and whatever other things basically would cost you. But more importantly, it's not really about the freight cost or whatever other logistic costs. It's really the time overall delayed, which would cost owner-operator to delay the project completion, which in turn becomes the operational revenue loss, which once again we mentioned many times before. Basically, your daily production capacity as the objective set, multiplied by the daily market price, and then multiplied by the number of days delayed. So that's a lot of money you cannot afford to lose. So just as any other logistic prime objective here, you want to have JIT, or just in time. But how do you get there? Basically, you start with the good plan, which it basically prepare you for all the incidents, and you have the backup plan scenarios to address each and every risk you identified, so that you could aim at reducing as much as possible the delay in capital equipment deliveries, which the master schedule of erection and installation depends on. So can you really have a project logistic plan synchronized with the master plan of installation and erection? As we pointed out before, almost 50% or more of project completion delay were attributed to the failure in project inbound material logistic management. So by introducing the service of 5PL, we actually will improve the planning and make it accountable and workable. Because as we all know today, whoever did whatever project inbound material logistic operation plan today at owner-operator, they don't really get to be well respected, let's say, by the whoever the subcontracted 3PLs who is supposed to handle the project logistic as required by the contract awarded EPCs. And of course, basically they all have their whatever intuitively, individually accumulated logistic operation management experience and some kind of knowledge, hopefully completely relevant. But if we look at the fact today, if we are looking at all this delayed and sometimes several months of delay of project completion, we're looking at a lot of money wasted. So by introducing the good modeling analysis and the computation capacity come along together, we actually will be able to make a good project logistic operation plan that actually counts. That's the first part of it. Secondly, 5PL in this notion is going to be an online automated operation platform. With that, all the operational data will be collected in real time in entirety. So we don't really deal with the sample data and do the cleansing here and there. We don't need that. So with that kind of data feeding into the model, you get the real trend. So the precision is a lot better. So first, we do what is humanly not entirely possible with this computation capacity. And secondly, we all know at most of the owner-operators, the historical data is very difficult to find and to do your mining and to feed to the model. So regardless how good, how beautiful the model you have, where do you get the data? So the 5PL primarily is to first solve these two big problems that the 4PLs, even though they're not here yet, but even if they are, how do they do their job? And this is why we may have to skip 4PL altogether and go straight to 5PL. Well, yes and no. We go straight to the 5PL, but that does not mean without the proper preparation, and we'll get to that.